Yeah, and we do see now NoPing also banning out the anti-mage. That is the one thing that is pretty obvious to call from the four Zoomers side. Regardless of the rest of their four heroes, they are still missing an Envy hero. It's the one thing that's very identifiable whenever you are playing versus Eternal Envy. None of these heroes scream Envy. Maybe when Beastmaster was broken, you can go for the Ags build, you could see him play that, but I think now you're missing an Envy hero. What are you going to end up picking for him? Are you going to try and win that core matchup? Unfortunately, I was going to mention yet again the PA for NoPing in that same position as the Wyvern if they wanted to go for the 5 gyro and the safe lane position PA, but they really are making the call here that gyrocopter is going to be the position 1. I think that's why four Zoomers are splitting the bands a little bit because, of course, we've seen this Leshrac moved over to the position 3. Oscar's played it quite a few times on the NoPing side, but Wesh Nyx, it's a lane without really any guaranteed setup. Of course, Impale is a very nice spell to lead things off, but it's kind of hard to hit in a few situations. In one where I wonder if Envy is going to look for a hero like the Juggernaut possibly to end up completely ignoring the Nyx Assassin lane. That's what Envy likes doing. He likes picking safe laners that don't care what he's laying against. He's going to get his farm no matter what. I'm glad that it feels like the Faceless Void is off the table, but you honestly can't trust Envy at this stage of the game. I feel like he'd pick whatever he wants into whatever.
Part of the reason why NoPing are dragging their feet a little on this final ban. They need to come up with something, and well, the Sven's not a bad
Yeah.
choice. If four Zoomers can get in with that lockdown, especially the Enigma with the Black Hole, then you've got a Sven with the Cleave who could just tear through those heroes with the God Strength. So, NoPing not overly interested in just getting run over, which, yeah, fair enough. But that still leaves Envy with quite a few options to work with here.
Yeah, and there are heroes like the Ursa, there are heroes like the Razor. Those are the ones that scream to me right now. Probably not going to see either of those.
Hmm.
But the Lifestealer, the pseudo Juggernaut, the one that plays a little bit nicer into Winter Wyvern because you can, of course, ignore that curse, walk around it in the fights, as well as being able to save your teammate. You can rage and then walk up to that cursed target, infest him, try to survive that damage coming out from your allies, where you're the only one that's not going to actively be hitting them with that approach. It's an interesting direction to go in. Of course, he doesn't have the easiest vessel in any of the heroes on the four Zoomer lineup. Of course, I don't think you can do the Hawk Bomb anymore, even though that was absurdly popular when it was good. But I really do think it is more for that defensive play into the Curse on the Winter Wyvern side. But Timbersaw for Oscar, okay. Again, I like that the level of activity is way higher this game. I think that everyone is going to be a lot more safe when it comes to their active plays, and we will see Gunnar going for the Brewmaster again. Do I like it as much versus this Leshrac? Not at all. So I wonder how Gunnar's going to be able to make out. Of course, it is one of those heroes that really only he is playing in this position, and it does feel like, to a certain degree, you play it like the Tiny, you play it like the Bat Rider, where regardless of the lane, you can fall back to that small camp. If you do get shut out, you get your level 6, and then you make your plays. But that's where we've also seen Leshrac spiral games out of control. So I don't know. I feel like NoPing right now, it's a similar story to their previous draft. They're very robust. They've got a very normal lineup where four Zoomers are definitely playing around the ability to outplay their opponents a little bit here. So it's going to be an interesting game regardless.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, and well, as we were sort of saying earlier on in the draft, probably a bit more up-tempo. You don't really have too many heroes who are just going to want to sit back and play passively. Obviously, Envy and Angel need to sort of build themselves up initially, but they need significantly less than, say, the Medusa that we saw the last time around. So the timings should be a little bit earlier. We've got enough teamfight spells and teamfight damage on both sides to be flung around to very nearly guarantee that we're going to be seeing sparks flying a little bit earlier in this one. So certainly makes for interesting moves, but I don't know. For Zoomers, they've got these sort of big home run kind of plays, right? If Moo can get active with the Roar, if they can set up that way, if Z-Freak is anything like what we saw from Duster the other day on this Enigma, then they are going to be incredibly intimidating.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that this last phase Lifestealer does cause, it forces your opponents to play incredibly tight. It's very similar to the Faceless Void, where one spell whiffs, and suddenly the team fight is blown wide open. The Lifestealer ends up making a break for it, and that's where the overextensions can definitely be there. As well as Oscar, even though we talk about Oscar, and of course his Timbersaw is going to come up when we talk about this player, but a hero that hasn't gotten off to the best start, especially after the nerfs to Timber Chain. A lot of times we see Timbersaws go for the max reactive play, something that people haven't really done for quite a while, at least not in the same fashion. Of course, you are always going to get a lot of points up in the reactive, but not with that same skill up where it suddenly feels like you have to go for the 114, and then at level 5 you don't really do any plays. It doesn't feel quite as aggressive or nice. And Dark Mago, with his Lesh, always places this ward right here. Always tries to get the ward on the enemy high ground, of course, being naturally faster than anyone else. And I don't think they scouted it out, but Sladen. Ooh,
Sladen does get spotted here, but he already skilled up
body
the Impale,
blocks.
so he is going to throw it out there. And that is going to be enough for him to get away for now, but he took a lot of damage, and you look at this Nyx, there is no regen, so he's going to go all the way back to base and presumably then TP himself to his lane, or maybe he won't. Okay, there we go. Backtracks to get the ward over to his teammate. Now he'll take the trip back to the base. No, he won't. Okay, I'm just a liar. Sladen twice now where he's thinking about it and then doubles back. So, honestly, this could get a little bit risky. You have a half HP Nyx kind of wandering around a bit.
An Angel.
But Angel, yeah, he's the one who's really in there. He was trying to steal the rune.
Out click.
Able to get it. Some damage onto Moo, I suppose, but that's not really going to matter too much. Now, what's going on here? Panda is up top. That part's expected. Sladen was still hanging out, though, and, well, where exactly does he plan to go? There we go. He will now TP down, so I thought for just a moment maybe NoPing would try to make some sort of tri-lane happen with the Impale already skilled up, but they don't really want to leave Oscar alone. This isn't exactly a sacrifice Oscar kind of scenario, having put him on the Timbersaw.
Yeah, and that's also where the skill build, or rather the item build from Sladen, is a little bit strange. Of course, the only change to Nyx Assassin was the rework with his base regen, so that is a much weaker aspect of the hero. It's where we see a lot of heroes and players, specifically Husky, actually able to trade very efficiently into him. And you see how much damage Sladen's making. Of course, he's able to make a little bit of a run for it, but
oh wait,
lost the range creep.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it goes. All
and Husky's meeting him. And look, Sladen's just completely bullied. He can't meet the waves here. He knows that he's actually going to just get killed by Husky, and that's where Envy, we've seen him do this many times before. He's so efficient when it comes to keeping his creep wave alive, pulling it behind the tower, and now Oscar needs to be a little bit careful here, and I think he got past
Should
Husky.
be okay, yeah.
Nice.
The Timber Chain gets him past. If he doesn't get that maneuver, then that's only level 1 reactive, so that may not have been enough to save him, but...
Ooh, and then we'll get Sladen, though. Saved it, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
With the 3 creeps alive, he got the half pull-off, meaning that now you're going to be losing quite a lot of those levels, actually, over on the Forzoomer side. Even though Oscar is definitely going to suffer a little bit here, and okay.
Courier snipe. And it's Envy's as well. He put some damage onto the Treants too, but able to get, well, the more valuable in terms of taking Envy's courier away. All the couriers are worth the same, but that may delay something. It's only about 55 more seconds before it's back up, but you never know. Meanwhile, Sladen, I mean, it is pretty nice that he was able to salvage this at all back behind his own tier 2 tower. So things are going to look a little bit better for him. Not quite enough for him to reach level 2 just yet on the Nyx, but see, Oscar's able to sort of pull back here as that creep wave is going to just about make it to the tower. So despite Envy's best efforts, Oscar is now in a more easily manageable position here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the supports are way too good in this game, because Husky also got a half pull-off there, so able to knock off even more XP, and all of this, while it has been some lane shenanigans, has ended up with Envy in a very nice position at 11 and 9, but that's where taking a look at the top lane. Angel is rocking it right now, 15 and 10. Moo is struggling.
He's going to try to go for the kill onto Panda instead, and he will be able to get it. So First Blood's going to make that quite a bit better, and Moo, part of the reason why he was kind of struggling, because he's just going for the naked Dom Helm rush, but First Blood bonus helps that one out. He already had the Helm coming to him, now he's going to get the crown too, so against Angel, you're still not really doing a whole lot to address his farming levels, but if Mu can get this Helm of the Dominator up in a pretty solid timing, then you're just going to have to be okay with that. I don't really know how much pressure they expected to put on Angel in this matchup anyway, so get Mu whatever you can. Try to use that Dom Helm to set up for more later on, especially once he hits level 6, and then we'll see how aggressive they get there. Meanwhile, Z-Freak, speaking of aggression, he is farming on his opponent's side of the map right now. Sladen is going to spot him out. Now Panda comes over as well. Z-Freak just has to look for the quick TP home, and since Sladen actually went south instead of continuing on the chase, they're not going to get that kill, and they're actually not going to get Gunner either. Sladen's not quite fast enough even with the boots, but he's still trying for the chase down. But now, even if he goes in, Dark Mago has no mana, but the right clicks are going to be enough. Impale into a right click from Sladen, one from Dark Mago as well, and they still find it. So initially it looked like they were going to miss out on the kill onto the Enigma. They do, but they get the more valuable one onto Gunner.
Yeah, and it's a little bit strange with that play. Sladen doesn't need to take the water rune away from Dark Mago there, and that's why it became a race towards the bottom water rune instead. But that's also where I think Gunner definitely overstepped. He walks into the middle of the river for what appears to be no reason except to put pressure on Dark Mago to freak out and worry about missing out on that rune, but ends up giving up the kill anyway, so it's a little bit of a weird play from him. Nothing that's going to hurt him all too much, because of course in this lane, all that matters is that he's able to get his level 6 in a reasonable fashion, and that's something that he will always be able to accomplish, while Dark Mago is, at the same time, playing the efficiency game. You see him stacking up this small camp, and actually, Gunner, does he seal it? Nope.
Give it a good attempt, but Dark Mago is able to hold it down. Meanwhile, you see Sladen still getting active. This is one of the benefits of the Timbersaw. There's a lot of scenarios where you're just free to leave him there, and sure, Oscar's last hit count is maybe not massively advancing, but he's pretty much on par with the Beastmaster, while Sladen's freed up to make plays like this, pushing in, burning the mana away from the Brewmaster, setting up for the Split Earth, but unfortunately, again, just like the last time, Dark Mago is low on mana. They were able to find the kill last time just with the physical damage, but Gunner's not quite low enough this go-around, so I mean, if you're Dark Mago, you're using your mana to continue supplementing your farm in those side camps, so it's not like he's wasting it, it's just kind of wish he had some sort of top-up. As Z-Freak got into the tree line, they're going to make the move, and now, well, Dark Mago's going to make them work, but I think they've got this. Panda's coming in, though, but not going to be able to get there in time. Didn't have any point up in the Cold Embrace anyway, so would not have been able to make the save, just he was hoping his presence would be enough to dissuade them, but they're still going, and now they see Sladen. They're going to jump in there, but look at that Impale connecting onto 2. Gunner is now taking the tower shots. Husky's going to be able to heal him up a bit, and that should be enough to get them free, but Sladen, nice move there, holding onto the Impale until he knows Gunner's coming out from that Primal Split so that he can lock them both down.
Yeah, definitely got scary for a few seconds there, but that's the entire reason why they back up that play so hard, but Gunner
slowed up by Panda. Why? Ooh, why? I don't think he realized Dark Mago would be coming back in, but I mean, where else was the Leshrac gonna go? He wanted his revenge, and he was able to get it, and he steals away a rune there as well, getting the bounty. Meanwhile, over in the east side, Sladen not looking for a fight, he's just looking to protect this stack, so he's going to be able to force the Treant out of there. This stack, either for Angel or for Dark Mago, doesn't really matter. Either one of them can take it. It's going to be a nice bit of gold sort of thrown in for them, as the Gyrocopter is just going to straight up kind of swing his way bot here. But Oscar's here as well, so maybe not the most efficient play, but Oscar's going to try to push forward now with his teammate taking the lane from him, and Envy's got to be a little bit careful. Yeah, there's the rage. He should be fine now. Oscar really should not be diving the tier 2, and he won't, but you push Envy out of the lane, that clears up Angels. Yeah, top lane, Moo gonna get slowed up a bit there by the Lightning Storm, as well as that Arctic Burn, but Moo, he's able to get a little bit of revenge there with his controlled unit from that Dom Helm. He does take down Sladen, but that trade is not great if you're 4 Zoomers. Core for support, but at least this Satyr Tormentor can annoy Panda a little bit more. That's not really going to work out to their advantage, though. Meanwhile, mid, Dark Mago briefly getting hit up, but you see the TPs in from the supports. They're immediately trying to bring in reinforcements, and 4 Zoomers have to respect that, especially with the Primal not up for about 10 more seconds.
Yeah, and that's where, unfortunately for Mu in the top lane, had to commit the roar, so he tried to survive. That's the entire reason why Slayton gets traded out, but it's also a really smart movement from NoPing. Even though Oscar and Angel end up in the same lane for a little bit, Oscar isn't strong enough to go top just yet, and oh
Gunner's
yeah,
trying to turn. It initially was a move from Dark Mago in with
oh, but
Slayton, but now,
Angel's here.
yeah, this is going to get complicated. Dark
Oh,
Mago dropping low. He already used the wand, though. The Fairy Fire coming in, trying to dodge out. Gunner is going to lose
oh
the
no.
Primal, and now he is in no man's land. He is too far back. No mana here either, so the homing missile is going to lock him down. The call down comes in. The rocket barrage is there, and Gunner was ooh, DC there. He was so close to getting that kill, but well, wasn't quite keeping an eye on the timer, or maybe he was just willing to take the risk. Either way, it doesn't work out. Not only does Dark Mako live, NoPing are able to get a very valuable kill onto the opposing mid laner.
Yeah, and because of Slayton and Angel shadowing so precisely there, there's no way for him to TP out. He would have had to stick TP and hope that Slayton had already committed the Impale. But they also did a really good job of focusing down the Storm Panda. I think if Storm Panda is actually able to disconnect one of those heroes from killing, or rather saving Dark Mago there, then I think he actually has enough damage with the almost Shadow Blade hit, I guess you could call it, from the Storm Panda that a lot of people will sometimes forget about, but I really don't think that Gunnar needs to be playing by himself like that, because not just that, you put Primal Split on a incredibly long cooldown and your teammates are killing top. If you have that split, your allies get to immediately collapse on this mid tower instead, where I feel like now you are giving a lot of time and net worth over to a no-ping lineup that I don't think is ready to play versus your full 5-man. But when you're missing your big ultimate like that, I think they actually can buy a lot more time to defend these towers, time where Angel can look towards his incredibly fast Ags. He's already 2 components down, 1 more and he's going to have it.
Yeah, he's
Rather,
looking
2 more and he's going to have it.
yeah, about halfway home on that Ags purchase. But yeah, that's incredibly fast time, so this is going to be a problem, and this is so much of what we were talking about with the faster tempo, right? The Ags, in and of itself, may not be enough for Angel to start that fighting, but that's going to boost up the damage and the farming speed. He could maybe just go directly in for a crit or a BKB after that, and then he is going to feel absolutely confident enough to push into fights. Not at full strength, obviously, but close enough. Meanwhile, on the Envy side of things, well, the buildup is a little bit slower. He's working his way towards the armlet, and once he picks that up, obviously it's going to be harder to keep him directly in front of you with the armlet and the rage, but damage-wise, I'm not really sure if he goes toe-to-toe with the gyrocopter, who will have Ags sort of +1 at that stage too. So Envy may want to wait till he gets his second item before he's really ready to go, and we'll have to wait and see what that second item is. Everyone, though, has reconnected, so we are good to go. Four Zoomers should be able to finish off this tier 1 top. They've got the creep wave, or the remnants of it, and a lot of controlled and summoned units here, so nobody's going to be TPing in. The glyph had already been used, so they just do have to let that one go, and that is something that I think Four Zoomers are going to have to emphasize pretty heavily here. Take away control of the map. Start pushing out these objectives as hard as you can. Really shrink the map for the likes of the Leshrac and the Gyrocopter before they can really outpace you.
Yeah, and that's where, unfortunately, yeah, Royal Land, Slayton.
Not dead
Nice
yet.
save.
Good play from Panda. Carapace is here as well. He has to go for the Impale, though, to get those boars off of him, but they're still chasing, and they'll still get the kill. So, that's the annoying part of the Brewmaster, or excuse me, Beastmaster. Just constantly in onto you with his hero and his summoned units. So, at least it's only the Nyx Assassin, not really the biggest hero to lose, but just going to be so obnoxious. You mentioned it back in the draft, the Nyx always used to hate the Beastmaster because of the Necronomicon obviously no longer in the game, but he's still struggling when Mu is able to track him down.
Yeah, and that's where the game does get slightly easier for Slayton once he gets his level 6. I don't think he has the tome just yet, so he is instead going to get his level 6 in the mid lane, and that's where we might see NoPing looking for those setups a little bit more, as well as Dark Mago finishing up his Boots of Travel. So we are going to see NoPing really easily play around the map now. I don't think we're going to see them necessarily make a jab at that mid tower just yet, even though we are at those 10-minute carts, just because I think they need to respect the team fight coming out from four Zoomers right now. It's very easy for four Zoomers to get set up in a lane, get all 15 of their summons onto a tower, and then collapse. I think if NoPing can avoid that timing right now, they would really be happy doing so, especially with Gunnar going for the Midas instead of immediately for that Aghanim Scepter, so valuing his levels more than that faster pace, trying to get his ultimate CD a little bit closer to being there all the time. But it's also just a more measured play from him, I think. Even though his item timings were really good in the previous game, he did definitely fall off, especially that 25 to 35-minute timing where the Midas on Mu felt incredibly nice. Mu was always having so much farm, so many items. His progression never really stopped, while there was definitely a lull there for the Brewmaster.
Yeah, but as you said, it feels a little bit nicer for Gunnar. And I think in the long term, this Hand of Midas is probably going to be more beneficial for him than the Ags, which I know sounds a little bit weird, but as of right now, having the Ags upgrade, getting that Primal Split sort of up and running, you're not finding these fights just yet. You will be getting there eventually, but there's no Black Hole up just yet on the Enigma. He's close to level 6, but not quite there, so if you were getting an Ags instead of the Midas, sure, you would have that opportunity, or excuse me, not have that ability, but I don't know how many openings there would be to take advantage of it. Meanwhile, look at Sladen. He's got the Vendetta.
Yeah.
He is on the hunt. He's not going to find anything really doable at the moment, but going to be able to go on a bit of a scouting mission there. Drops down the vision, blocks off the camp, and we'll see that this is only a 2-stack, but it is still a stacked camp that NoPing could take away. Right now, though, they want Gunnar mid. He's forced to use the Primal, and that is going to keep him alive for now. Husky's coming in as well. So they should be okay. Oh, Sladen getting kind of caught in the crossfire there. They are going to be able to drop him low. Haven't finished him off just yet, though. Good Impale, connecting onto the Spirits as well as Moo. And now Panda coming in again with that Cold Embrace. The Winter's Curse is available, though. So if you're 4 Zoomers, I don't know how far forward you want to go. Moo doesn't have to go forward, though, to get the Axe play down for the kill. So Sladen will be sniped out. Gunnar is able to use the Tumbler's Toy to get over the wall, or the cliff, rather. Either way, he is able to make his escape, and that is not the way you wanted to use your first Primal, but... Excuse me, not first Primal, use the Primal, but it gets him out. He's able to survive, and they get the kill onto Sladen in exchange.
Yeah, and it's a really nifty play, glyphing the creep, going in with the Boots of Travel. Not one that you can always be prepared for, but that's where Angel has his Aghanim Scepter now. He can definitely get way more active in these team fights, and Gunnar, ooh, okay.
No Primal this time. Here. And he's just straight up dead. Oscar's going to take him down. Sladen actually gets the kill, and Husky, that is so unfortunate. If he were a second or two sooner, maybe that's enough to try and get Gunnar out of there. But as it stands, that ult is going to get blown. But now Envy is TPing in to try and defend this tower, but he TPs right into trouble. And multiple NoPing heroes here. They don't want to go all in for the fight, though, but Envy does have to watch his positioning. But right now it's Oscar who's getting pretty far forward. Envy's going to toggle up the armlet, and there's the Rage just in time as well. That was both the Impale and the Lightning Storm that would have been hitting him up. So he would have been stunned, slowed, and not in a fun spot. But him backing off means that the tower is exposed and NoPing are able to clean it up.
Yeah, really good at pressing the issue there. They know that there's no Primal Roar. There's no way for Z-Freak to have an impact in this game just yet, even though he does have that Aether Lens finished. And Envy tries to body that mid tower, but as soon as he has to commit the Rage, he is stuck waiting on the sidelines for another 15 seconds. He really can't afford to get himself caught out here. And Oscar is taking a lot of damage here.
Oscar? Excuse me? What? Yeah. Husky's going to tip Envy, but that feels less like an Envy play and more like Oscar... I don't know. He could have tried the Timber Chain. It's max level. He was waiting for Panda, but wasn't able to get off the Cold Embrace in time, so that's just kind of a freebie.
Yeah, that one definitely feels pretty weird, but what can you do? Maybe a small issue here, but now I think NoPing, they really just wait for a few more levels on their supports. Sladen is just going to aggressively look for picks. He's still playing the Nyx Assassin. He's going to be looking for those easy plays, especially if a player like the Treant Protector presents itself. That's where the Nyx Assassin with a Boots of Travel carrier on your team is always going to feel very dangerous. And he's going to meet Gunnar on the rune here. See if it spawns. Doesn't spawn for him, so unlucky, but they already have a sentry in the wave, so unfortunately, Sladen is going to find absolutely no one with this vendetta.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to be done right now, but he doesn't know that. So, still doing his due diligence as the Nyx assassin makes his way further to the south, and yeah, you see Z-Freak and Moo already clearing away. Moo, though, might want to be a little bit careful. Sladen's kind of gotten in behind him, and Angel is nearby. He would have to buy a little bit of time, but there's going to be the roar. It's going to stop that initially, and Moo will simply go for the TP out. So, well, another sentry sort of saving the day. He will lose his Dom-helmed creep, so that is Angel getting a little bit of a buff up there with the bonus gold, but Moo will survive. And if you have to trade out that creep to get your Beastmaster away, you're going to be more than okay with that.
Yeah, and that's where I think NoPing are very happy with their position. They don't really have to lose any of their fights right now. And without the Roar, Four Zoomers don't have an easy way to start these engagements. That's the downside of having this Enigma. Of course, it's a very cool pick. It's one that isn't really going to have too many problems, even though you are playing versus...
They're collapsing onto Envy here.
Envy?
Rage is going to get him out of the initial damage, but there's the Winter's Curse locking him down. Enigma TPing in. Z-Freak's got to try to save the day, but there's just too much damage. Envy's going to die before anyone gets here. And now, if they go in, Oscar's arrived as well, so there's your frontline hero. The Primal Split comes out. The Black Hole, though, connects onto 2. Panda able to save up Dark Mago, though, with the Cold Embrace, so they aren't going to lose the Leshrac just yet. They do at least get Sladen, but they really do need to get this Lesh if they can lock him down. But there's going to be the Pigpole trying to get him away, but he's stunned up, dropped low. Can Panda save him again? No, he can't. Dark Mago will fall, and now Gunnar wants more. He's going to track down Panda. Panda looking for the TP home. No cancel from either of these two heroes, though. So you do get the Wyvern out of there, but that looked pretty horrible for Four Zoomers at the start, but even with the sort of Winter's Curse, even with the Cold Embrace coming through, they do still get Sladen as well as Dark Mago, so Envy's death is unfortunate, but at least they can salvage something.
And it's the perfect curse coming in from Pandaboo. Unfortunately, when the curse is off of the table, Z-Freak can be absolutely fearless, and that's where this Aether Lens is so disruptive. It's where I think this hero is really going to get looked at a lot more by pro players. And that was a fight without the Roar either. They had no need to commit it there, and that's where Oscar might be getting caught here. He's really got to make a run for it.
Back up in 2, so that he'll be able to shrug off a little bit of that damage, but the Roar keeps him locked down, and there's really not much to be done here outside of just trying to run for his life, and he's not going to make it. He's slowed up, stunned again, Malefice comes into play, and Oscar will fall, but here comes NoPing. This is a weird one, having already lost the hero. The smoke already popped. Dark Mago has to be so careful, but those trees are kind of blocking off the sideline, so maybe they can still sneak their way in. Gunnar does not have his ult right now, so he would make for an easier target for them to jump in on if they can close that gap. The homing missile is going to be connecting, but now Envy is pushing his way forward. Husky, meanwhile, throws down the Overgrowth, but Gunnar is still getting hit up. The call down is going to be there. The defensive infest, though, not going to be enough. Gunnar still falls, and now Envy, he's inserted himself into the situation, and he's not going to be able to make it back out. Angel finds both of those kills, and Envy, I mean, he thought he could save his buddy with that extra health. It was looking like maybe they could do something, but if that play doesn't work out, you have basically given away your only escape route to not save Gunnar. So 2 kills for NoPing, big kills as well, because not only do they get that gold, now they can push onto this tier 1 top, which strategically maybe Four Zoomers don't care too much about, but it's going to open up more of the map for NoPing, and it's going to get more money into Angel's hands, although Angel is not going all in for this. Between the glyph and that living armor, he doesn't really want to stick around too long.
Yeah, it shows how aware they are of the cooldowns on Four Zoomers. They know that if they stick around top for too long, Gunnar could very simply TP up there and kill him with the Primal Split. They're respecting their opponents, which I absolutely love from NoPing. They know that if they stick around for too long, they are going to play into those cooldowns just a little bit too much. The entire reason they make that smoke play, even though originally they lost Oscar top, is because they know there's no Black Hole, there's no Roar. The worst thing that could happen is a Primal Split comes through, but even that was on cooldown, and that's a problem that gets fixed for Four Zoomers as the game progresses, but one that is definitely an issue in their mid-game. If they really stick around a lot in these areas that they get set up in, NoPing can definitely find those very easy smoke plays, and they just get in there, get the kills, get out. They're very mobile on the NoPing side. They get to move around the map a lot faster, where Four Zoomers definitely try to make their own territory and then play around it. It's a very safe strategy, but one that is going to result in definitely a lot less farm. I think you can see that reflected in the net worth right now. Both the cores on NoPing have a much easier time to get out in the map, where for Zoomers really need everyone next to each other. And look at the top lane. Need 3 heroes just to push this out.
And Sladen is just sitting and waiting. Teammates are coming. They're going to make the move on to Gunnar. Hit him up with the stun. They need the follow-up, though. Eul Scepter is there. Can Dark Mago land? Yes, he can. They cancel out that channel on the ult. Gunnar will fall. Husky, good play, though. Trying to sort of break it up with the overgrowth. That's not going to be enough, but he will at least get Moo away from the fight. So they do get one of the cores out, but NoPing starting to feel a bit more confident. And one thing I want to point out right now that I'm actually honestly kind of loving from NoPing, the emphasis... Oh, hold on. I'll get to that point in a second because Moo is still under attack. Has to drop down the roar. And it looks like that'll be enough for him. That homing missile will eventually connect, but I don't think they can do this. Oscar wants to keep on going, but...
Oh, wow.
Are they really? They are. Wow. Okay. All the way in.
Black hole?
Oscar can do whatever the hell he wants as Z-Freak... Very smart to not black hole, because you see Sladen hits him up with the Spike Carapace. If that had been the black hole instead of the Midnight Pulse, Z-Freak would have been very, very sad. But 3 kills for NoPing, and to the point I was going to make before, look at the emphasis on not just damage but durability for all of their cores. Right? Aghanim Scepter, Sange and Yasha for the Gyro. He's looking for the Satanic next. You got the Leshrac with the Kaya Sange being queued up. Oscar is actually going for the same thing after he's picked up his Guardian Greaves. So they know that in a lot of circumstances they may just have to outlast their opponents, and they're building in that direction. As Gunnar was able to get the Primal Split off in time. Now you see the TPs coming in from Moo. This could get a little complicated. Oscar, though, again, with that durable build, he's not easy to bring down, and Moo doesn't have the roar, so they can't really go for that kill. Instead, they'll look for something easier. Sladen sticks around just to sort of act as the distraction and will be sacrificed.
Yeah, and if you hit alt here, you just see the incredible sentry coverage that 4 Zoomers have. There's really very few spaces for Sladen to sit in here without them actually scouting him out, but that's where there are some pretty big items coming out from 4 Zoomers. The Aghanim Scepter completed by the Brewmaster, and the Basher on Envy, Dark Mago.
The Maleficus is actually keeping him locked down as well. That's going to force out both the Cold Embrace and... Oh, no. And that, but Z-Freak, he wasn't caught inside of the curse, so... That is your ult for one, but it's a big one onto Dark Mago, and we saw it the last time around, right? The second Z-Freak sees that this Winter's Curse has been used, he can go in. And who is really going to punish him? Especially in that instance, Sladen is nowhere to be found, and the only other hero with a stun in that scenario was the one you're jumping in on in the first place. So, big plays there. Of course, the downside is that the Black Hole has 2 to 3 times the cooldown of the Winter's Curse, but you still have to wait for your Leshrac to be back on the map anyway before they can make a move.
And that's where you see, actually, with the way that they're frontlining right now, pretty much primarily on Angel. With his build-up going for the Satanic after the Sange and Yasha, he is definitely playing a little bit into the Lifestealer. Of course, Lifestealer loves to play versus high HP pool heroes and hates to play versus high burst damage because it forces him to go back for maybe another armor item. But look at Envy's build. Envy is rushing a BKB after his Basher on the Nakes here. Okay.
Lifestealer just straight up hates to buy the BKB, but Envy recognizing that it might be a necessity. The Rage may not be enough to keep him safe. Of course, that leaves him not in a great spot damage-wise. That's why he goes for the Basher first. That's still not a perfect solution, but it's better than just the straight BKB rush after the armlet alone. So we'll see if that pays off for him with that extended sort of magic immunity and durability, but while he's farming it, you do see NoPing starting to push for some towers here. Tier 1 top is going to be taken down, and now this is what you want. The Leshrac needs to start going downhill here in terms of that momentum, get those objectives, but they have a bit of an issue to look at here in the east side jungle. That is a pretty hefty build-up. Sladen doesn't get the full vision on it, I don't think, but he can at least get close enough to get the gist of what's going down there. And with that many heroes over in the east side, NoPing know that Roche is pretty much exposed, but the Hawk did fly in, so they have full vision over this Roche attempt. The thing is, they can't do anything about it. No one could really TP over there. There's no real location for them to jump off from. So Roshan will be taken. Angel's able to get the Aegis into his hands, and Moo actually still got the tower. Thought that NoPing with 3 heroes there would be able to deny it, but not the case. So your Beastmaster kind of sneaks one in at the last second.
Yeah, and now the problem becomes, how does Force Zoomers ever split the map up? It's a very difficult question to answer. They've done a really good job of really making themselves a staple of the dire triangle, but that's where NoPing say, okay, we know where you are. You're pushing in our bottom lane with Eternal Envy. We only know that he is there because he's, of course, showing in the waves. That's where I think Mood doing a fantastic job having this outlet in the Ancient Black Dragon creep, of course, finishing off the Helm of the Overlord, so he's able to cut this mid wave. But that's where I think if they really wanted to, NoPing could force you back onto the high ground. But it looks like instead of that, they might want to catch their opponents in their triangle. Right now, they're making some movements right now to try and do the exact same thing. We're seeing both teams really play in the opposite sides of the map because they don't want to give each other that position. That's where the smoke on Sladen could break everything open. They've got the infrastructure here, and for Zoomers are definitely set up. It's a little bit crazy for NoPing to walk over here. They definitely need to smoke, otherwise this fight could go horribly for them.
Yeah, they don't really have the means to just walk up to this, so we'll see if Sladen tries to put that smoke to use, but at this point, NoPing a little bit split up. Oscar and Dark Mego are hanging out mid, the rest of the lineup still over in that sort of west side section as Angel continues to farm up. So we'll see if they regroup here, and I mean, they have seemingly everything that they would need. They've got the Aegis, the Gyro can do some serious damage, they'll have a 5-man smoke with all of their ults available, so at that point, all they would really need to do is find a target. Speaking of targets, Envy running into Oscar, immediately popping the Rage, not messing around. If Oscar's there, Envy's assuming there were teammates nearby. As it turns out, that assumption is incorrect, but if you're Envy, you're probably better safe than sorry here. But Z-Freak gets caught in the meantime, as they do bring him down, and now mid, Gunner taking a little bit of pressure here, but it's Angel who might want to back off. Even with the Aegis, this is not the place where you want to be spending it. So he is going to make his retreat. Panda was there to cover him just in case, and NoPing will get away with a quick pickoff, and Z-Freak actually has no buyback right now, so he's going to have to wait the 25, while NoPing will get the tower mid. Angel's able to finish it off despite Gunner's defensive effort.
Yeah, and this is where that one kill on Sladen suddenly becomes a 3k gold lead because you take back your entire triangle now. You try to cut off your opponents, where Envy, it's still very hard to dislodge him, especially with the BKB build. He has 15 seconds of spell immunity if he needs, but if you can ever catch him out with Pandaboo, that would be absolutely massive, and forcing the BKB is just as important here. Fortunately, you're not going to get it like that, but it looks like the Helm of the Overlord creep might be killed instead, which is honestly just as worth. 250 gold is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, that Helm of the Overlord, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, actually. Now, there's a bit of a break, so I can point it out. If you ever want to know when an item is super duper balanced, ET, if you mouse on over the Helm of the Overlord, the recent changes is longer than the description of the damn item. So, yeah, we're dialing it in on the Helm of the Overlord, but that is so many changes, which, to be fair, a lot of them seem necessary, because that item was just way too strong at a certain point.
Yeah, and it does feel a little bit unfortunate. I agree that the mana issue, which was really that the Ancient Black Dragon was able to spam at waves forever, you would regen the mana that it cost to cast Fireball, so you never really had to worry about that at all. But okay, here's the fight.
Just straight up push. Yeah, look at Envy. He's looking for the target. They're going to try to go on to Sladen. He pops that Carapace a little bit early, though, but, well, NoPing are regrouping. Gunner is going in for the secondary split, but there's going to be Panda to save the day, hitting it with that ult. Is that going to be enough, though? Z-Freak coming in. Black hole connecting. They need the damage onto Dark Mego, though. The Cold Embrace is keeping him alive. Not for long, though. Dark Mego will fall, but Z-Freak ends up trading himself out in exchange, which means Gunner is really the only one here who can fight, because Envy just got stunned up. That's a perfect impale from Sladen. Now they get the stun onto Gunner himself, and there's no more primal splits. He used them both. He will be taken down. No. Dark Mego, meanwhile, he just bought back. He's in immediately with that TP forward, and they will clear out the creep. And now, yeah, this is not looking good. They're going to take the entire bottom lane. They're pushing their way mid, and
they have buys, but they don't want to use it. If they use it, they really can't do much here. They're waiting for Angel to actually lose his Aegis, but this lineup does not play versus Mega Creeps.
Yeah, if they don't buy back, this is Megas, and as you said, they don't play very well against it. They've got to try something here. There's one buyback from Gunner, but if you're going to buy back there, why didn't you buy back when mid was falling? It's a little bit strange for them, but Gunner's back in at least. Envy now as well, but there's still no primal split, so Gunner's effectiveness is going to be limited. Tier 3 tower taken down. Meanwhile, Z-Freak, he's here, but there's no black hole either. He's going to get hit up by the Impale, dropping low. Can they burn through him? Yes, they can. Z-Freak taken down. They're going to lose Husky as well. Envy, though, fighting in the Rage, but there's that Cold Embrace to save Sladen. The Roar, though, does get deployed onto Dark Mako, but the follow-up damage just isn't there. Envy cannot do enough by himself, but the buybacks are going to be coming out from at least one of his teammates, but now there's the Winter's Curse. Resetting the fight. They'll surround Envy. No BKB for him to use. He is dropping low. They'll take him down, and that may very well be the end of it. Husky will die a second time. Gunner gone as well. And the GG will be called.
Yeah, that was really clean from NoPing. That bottom push was just way too successful, and Z-Freak thought that he had the damage onto Dark Mago, but unfortunately that Cold Embrace is just a little bit too potent. He had the timing, he knew that the curse was gone, and that was his fresh BKB, but it just wasn't enough, and I think the BKB build on Envy was, again, okay, sure, you want to be able to approach, you want 15 seconds of spell immunity to not have to be scared of anything, but I feel like you throw away a very big advantage. I think the reason he goes for that BKB is because if he does get caught in the curse, there is a small cast time on the Rage, so BKB is instant. You always are able to slink out of those fights, but at the same time, you have no damage coming in from Envy. You aren't able to stick on anyone, and you lose the man fight versus the gyrocopter. I just feel like that was not what they wanted to do with this game at all. And to that degree, NoPing very simply pushed in the bottom wave. They killed you once on Z-Freak, pushed all the way in the bottom lane, finished up maybe one more item on Angel, and then win the game like that. I feel like for Zoomers, which had a much more split push heavy lineup who wanted to look for those later on engagements, did the exact opposite of the first game. And I don't think the Gyro versus the Medusa is that big of a difference, but I guess being slightly more active just means that four Zoomers take a few too bad fights, and Gunner isn't able to play that same obtrusive hero playstyle. It felt like they were actually stuck to their guns. They were stuck inside the base, and they just ran out of gas so quickly, actually. They just ran out of damage on every single front.
I think that was the big thing. They had that team fight setup. They had things like the Roar. They had Z-Freak with the black hole plays, and he was able to hit a couple of them in some nice spots, but no one other than Envy really did damage. I actually do want to take a look at the numbers. Actually, in terms of damage dealt, they were all kind of even, which is honestly a bit of a problem. Nobody's really higher than the 12k that Gunner was able to dish out. So Envy wasn't even the sort of standout that he was doing damage and no one else was. Four Zoomers were all just kind of in the same medium damage ballpark, and that's not going to be enough. Someone had to be able to do more, and nobody was able to step up with that item build.
Yeah, and I think it also goes back to giving that first Aegis over to NoPing, giving Angel the time to farm up, because of course you're very tanky on that gyrocopter, but if you fight him in that pit, he doesn't have the Daedalus. You're not going to be losing those Brewmaster creeps. I think for the first time in this game, we saw NoPing very simply putting down a sentry, killing off two of the creeps. You only have the Stone Panda left, and that's it. You have a Stone Panda left. As soon as you pop out, you have to just wait for your next ultimate, or you get forced into popping that second one before you really want to. I really think four Zoomers struggled to find that pace, that voice that they wanted to in this lineup. And I also think NoPing were sick of their shit. They totally stuck to their guns, played a lineup that was much more active, much faster, and four Zoomers crumbled at that aggression. I mean, 29 minutes in, usually victories like that are pretty hard to come by, but that was just decisive for NoPing. They push with a minute left on their Aegis and they get everything.
Especially in sort of the current meta we stand in, feels like the average game is going sort of, 40 plus minutes. So very nicely done by NoPing. They get that 1-1 draw, and now they've got a little bit of blah 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 blah. Let's try that one again. They have a little bit of momentum going into their next series. There is just the one best of two remaining now today, and it is going to be NoPing taking on Infamous. So NoPing with the chance to further increase that score and their position in the standings if they can make that happen. So we are going to be pushing into that next series in a little bit here after the break. Before we go, though, do want to get a word in from the sponsor for this event. Thank you very much to our sponsor, N1Bet. You can deposit using digital wallets and crypto and bet on Pro Series 8 matches with N1Bet. You can also use code BTSDOTA at bts.gg/N1Bet to get yourself a free exclusive exclusive promo bonus without making a wager. So Thank you to N1Bet. Appreciate the promotional deal. BTS Dota, again, is that code for you to check them out. So thank you very much to N1Bet. Thank you very much to you all as well for bearing with me as I stumbled my way through that ad read. And we will now be getting ready for that final series, NoPing versus Infamous, about 15 minutes away. So we'll be back for our final series.